Hello guys, welcome back. Today we are reacting to Marvel Spider-Man 2 launch trailer complete breakdown, 50 plus new gameplay and story details. This is 29 minutes and 49 seconds long. This is gonna be a long video. So I'm also have my football games on. I'm also checking my fantasy. I play a couple games with my friends. But now I'm gonna be playing. Now I'm gonna be reacting to this for you guys. But yeah, let's begin by the Lunar Squadron. Shout out to them. They giving us complete breakdowns in this incredible to know a little more of the game. Yeah, this is the last trailer of Spider-Man 2 until the release that coming this week on a Friday. Um, it's Sunday. We only have 5 days to go. And yeah, let's begin.
Hello there, Lunar Squadron, and welcome back to the channel. We got a massive surprise on this Sunday morning as Insomniac, those absolute mad lads, decided to drop the official launch trailer for Marvel's Spider-Man 2. And today, we are going to break it down frame by frame in that good old Lunar Squadron fashion, because there are a lot of new exciting details about this game just packed into this trailer. So we're going to jump right into this breakdown. But first, if you're new to the channel, we would love to have you as always. And the way to do that, just go down below this video, hit that little subscribe button, the bell notification right on next to it. It'll notify you every single time that we upload. Now with that out of the way, Andreas, are you ready to jump right into this breakdown?
Oh yeah, let's break this down, guys. All right, Nick, let's dig straight into this one. We have 1 minute and 13 seconds of straight up fire here from
an hour, 1 minute, and they this video is 29 minutes long. Found a 1 minute video. Means what they did in this fucking launch trailer, give it a lot out.
Insomniac. So I want to get
They didn't
straight
know
into
this.
this
They did.
first shot here, where we have Pete in the symbiote suit facing off against Lizard. This is something that we should all be familiar with at this point because we've seen this boss battle, right?
Yeah.
Yep, we sure have. These first couple shots into this launch trailer, it's like a nice appetizer. Nothing really new here. We get the shot of Peter fighting Kurt Connors, and then we get to see Miles show up here for a brief moment, and then we get this sick shot of Venom. He looks so damn good. I'm happy they at least included that. And then we get into the meat and potatoes of this launch trailer, of course. We get to see this cool shot of Peter coming in. This reminds me of the end of the Amazing Spider-Man 1 movie, for those of you who know what I'm talking about. It's like the same lighting, same type of angle. So just what that reminded me of. And then we continue here into the actual trailer. We get this awesome Insomniac Games logo, and then we see Miles stumbling upon what appears to be like Kraven's headquarters in this game. And it's really interesting that up to this point we've really only seen like Miles approach this location on his own. I don't know what that means, if Miles is the one that, you know, discovers that Kraven is in New York City. But again, we just keep seeing Miles on his own with Kraven here, at least entering into his sanctuary. And man, it looks like Miles is in like some sort of gauntlet arena. Like we have all of these people staring down on him in like this courtyard. So I wonder if they're like in this kind of like proving ground, like gladiator style thing, and Miles is going to have to fight his way out. But just something that I found very interesting about this trailer and all the footage we've seen up to this point. And then it continues. We get the Marvel's logo intro animation thing, and then we get to see some open world gameplay here of Miles flying around with his web wings. Andreas, New York City looks phenomenal. This game just looks phenomenal.
Yeah, New York is really, really full of vehicles and NPCs. That's just one thing that I really want to point out here. It's something that we've been emphasizing as we've looked at all sorts of new gameplay over the past few weeks and months, is that the New York City this time around will be packed full of life, and it looks like that in just this brief shot here where we see Miles is using his web wings to fly through the streets past the Life Bakery. And then here we see Pete talking to Miles. I think Pete is expected to be a science teacher at Midtown High, and that appears to be the case here. He is standing in front of it.
Sorry guys, I have football on, but I'm sure listeners.
a formula for surface tension where it says gamma equals force divided by length. And we also got a soundbite between Miles and Pete. Miles is saying, "I need your help," and Peter responds, "You sure this isn't something you can handle yourself?" Nick, I'm wondering if there's kind of like a double meaning here where obviously like they're in a classroom setting where I can see how maybe Miles might be coming to Peter for help with a science problem, but the subtext here is Miles is saying, you know, I could I could use your help with some bigger problems here. Maybe you saw earlier Miles was walking into Kraven's compound, and in that shot there's another soundbite from Miles where he says this is something else. So I'm wondering if maybe Miles finds Kraven's compound and then goes to Pete for help, saying like, "Hey Pete, I found something different this time. This is something that I cannot handle myself."
Peter is very busy. He started this new job. He still has to balance his Spider-Man life and his personal life with MJ. So I kind of took it of like Miles coming up to him and be like, "Hey, I need your help." And Peter's like, "Dude, are you sure this isn't something like you can just handle it by yourself? Like, you're clearly a very capable Spider-Man. Do you really need me?" And Miles is like, "No, dude, like this is serious this time. Like we need to do this together," kind of thing. And so that's kind of how I took it. And then this whole trailer continues with poor Miles being thrown out a window, which is very unfortunate. And then I want to talk about this sequence here for a moment. We get to see Miles like tripping out. He appears to be underwater, and he's approaching Friar's Coffee, which was the same coffee shop that was in Miles Morales, and is reaching his hand out towards what appears to be Rio, and she is with another person. It looks like they're on sort of coffee date. I do wonder if perhaps that will turn out to be Martin Lee that she's with. Like this is some personal hellish nightmare for Miles. And you know, we saw in the previous game, that being Marvel's Spider-Man, not Miles Morales, like we saw sequences where Peter tripped out, he got stabbed by Scorpion who poisoned him, and he kind of had hallucinations. And then there was that whole thing with Martin Lee and Mr. Negative where he would take you into his own world of memories. And I've seen some people wonder if that is what this could possibly be. But Andreas, the green surrounding this scene, like it's all greenish, makes me wonder if perhaps this is actually a hallucination caused by Mysterio. He's playing mind games. I just wonder if this is a Mysterio sequence in this game.
You know, Nick, I thought the same thing as well as soon as I saw that green tinge around the screen, and then these doors shut closed, and it looks like he's underwater. You see kind of bubbles shooting around. And if I had to construct a nightmare for Miles, I mean, what a screwed up nightmare. I mean, he's got someone dating his mom, like taking his mom on a coffee date, and the date is taking place at Friar's Coffee, which is where Miles met with Finn before, you know, the whole Tinkerer situation went down the toilet and he lost one of his best friends. Like, this is a perfect recipe for trauma if you wanted to cause trauma for Miles here. And of course we were wondering if Rio is with Mr. Negative, if this is Martin Lee, and to kind of add fuel on that fire, because we can't really see the face of the person that Rio is with here, the very next shot is, of course, Martin Lee going full Mr. Negative mode. We've seen that Martin Lee is going to be in this game. We've seen him in his prison garb. This looks like he's fully activated in Mr. Negative mode. Earlier, Nick, we had this extensive discussion as to whether or not Martin Lee has turned a new leaf because he was just in his prison attire and wasn't in the full Mr. Negative mode. But here we are seeing Mr. Negative fully fledged, and he is going on the offensive, he's trying to stab Miles here. This is a serious situation. We're not looking at pacifist Martin Lee anymore, are we?
No, I do wonder if perhaps he could just be like, you know, defending himself, because Miles was pretty pissed when he saw him, and maybe Miles starts this whole thing, goes on the offensive, because we were kind of wondering the same thing.
Or maybe this is before.
Like, it looked like from that previous trailer that Martin Lee looked very like shocked and sort of passive, and like looks like he was trying to move on possibly, but that's definitely not what we're seeing here, because he is in his prison attire. He still has the long hair and the facial hair, like he hasn't shaved and cut his hair or anything. Like, it's clear that he is just coming out of prison here in this sequence. So I do wonder if they're trying to frame it in a way of like, it looks like he's on the offensive, but really he was just trying to defend himself because Miles goes like apeshit on him or something. But definitely interested to see.
And I heard that fucking Miles might have like a Venom thing attached to him for him to be angry.
And I am very excited that they are fully bringing back some sort of version of Mr. Negative in this game for Miles to deal with, not just a Martin Lee for him to deal with. So just going to add an interesting dynamic. And then we get to probably the biggest reveal of this entire trailer. Sandman is confirmed. He will be in this game. He's massive. This looks like this is going to be a huge, sprawling boss fight. We see both Miles and Peter being involved in this boss fight. We see lightning. Like, this looks like this is going to be an absolutely insane sequence in this game.
Yeah, it is, Nick, and this just makes my mind run as to how Insomniac is going to fit all of this stuff in this game, because we have so much going on now. Like, we have Kraven, we have Venom, we have Lizard, we have so many plot lines running with Norman in the background, with Harry, with Pete and MJ and Miles. Like, there are 2 Spider-Men, there's like triple the villains this time around. We now have Mr. Negative in the mix, not even to mention Yuri Watanabe, and then on top of all of that, we've seen the Mysterio undertones here, and potentially Prowler stuff in the menus, and now Sandman on top of all of this. We are just juggling so much in this game. I'm hoping...
And then maybe freaking Electro, if this is the thing from Electro, or it gets from Miles.
Insomniac is able to maybe cut some of the origin story for Sandman, because Peter has a history with Sandman in this universe. We saw that vial of sand in Peter's inventory, so he does have a history with Sandman, and I'm just wondering how Sandman is going to find his way in the fold here. We talked about a raid on the Raft prison and maybe all of the villains in this universe breaking out. Maybe that is how this all goes down, but I'm really wondering how they fold all of this in and how they're going to balance all of these moving parts.
Yeah, I'm happy you brought that up, because we know from the first Spider-Man game that Peter has Flint Marko trapped in the vial, and like, so I'm just like, how does he get out? How does that vial break? Like, what exactly has to occur for Peter to lose track of where Flint Marko is? And then another cool thing I noticed about this whole sequence with Flint Marko with Sandman is it looks like it's taking place in like a construction area, which just really gives me vibes of Spider-Man 3. It just, like, for some reason, there's always got to be, like, a boss fight with Flint Marko at a construction site, maybe just because, you know, there's all that extra dirt and sand, so that's what he can use to become, you know, super big, massive Sandman. I just find it interesting that that always occurs, because that's what looks like is taking place in this trailer. And then we continue on. This is where we have Miles telling Peter, like, yeah, dude, I'm sure I need your help. Like, this is something completely different than what we've dealt with in the past. And then we get some cool sequences from this fight with Sandman. Some very cinematic sequences where Peter is ebbing and flowing through the attacks of Sandman. He goes through his fist here, through this construction area. Just, it looks very cinematic. It looks very cool. I'm so excited to be able to bounce back and forth between Miles and Peter in this sequence and use their different abilities. It's going to be so damn cool. And then we get this shot of Coney Island, and we see Peter fighting against Kraven's guys on this island. And what's interesting to me about this shot, Andreas, is if you guys think back to our video from a couple days ago, we talked about how on the PlayStation website, they talked about how there would be a big final showdown encounter on Coney Island, and we had kind of speculated that perhaps that is a final encounter with Mysterio, since it looks like he is involved on Coney Island, like he's perhaps employed at the carnival, like as some sort of magician or illusionist or something like that. But it looks like there's at least going to be a showdown with Kraven and his guys on this island. So I wonder if the final showdown that they were referring to is actually with Kraven and perhaps not Mysterio, or perhaps it's some sort of team up. But Kraven doesn't seem like the kind of guy that likes to team up, so I'm thinking this final encounter on Coney Island is going to be with Kraven.
Speaking of Kraven, Nick, I know we're going to be talking a lot about what we are seeing in this trailer. One notable omission from this trailer is we don't really see a lot of Kraven in this trailer. I just want to point that out. I know that we're expecting a lot of Kraven in this game, but we're seeing, you know, his goons in this trailer, but a notable omission of some Kraven shots here. But what we do see a lot of is this symbiote suit. And I think that's really what they're drilling down on. And on that point, Nick, here we get a soundbite saying, "We call it a symbiote and it chose you." And Nick, one thing I really want to point out here is as the symbiote is enveloping what appears to be Pete's hand, I mean, we know that Pete has the symbiote suit, but Nick, look at the size of this hand. Like,
Look at the size of that thing.
is that Pete's hand, or am I just crazy here? Like, is it just the perspective? Like, maybe angle's playing tricks on me? Because that looks like a massive hand.
Yeah, this scene is one I also really wanted to talk about because he already is in the symbiote suit. He already has the symbiote, and it looks like it's evolving and taking him over again. You see it completely enveloping his body, taking over the current iteration of the symbiote suit. It looks like his hand is getting bigger. It looks like he's getting bigger. We see it going over his back. It starts going over his face and his eyes. It's like retaking him over. Now, of course, this doesn't confirm anything, but I would just like to speculate that perhaps there is an instance where Peter completely loses control. We've been told he completely loses control. And maybe for just a brief, fleeting moment, he does become some sort of iteration of Venom. And he kind of fulfills that prophecy of Peter becoming Venom. Now, of course, I don't think he is the final endgame Venom. I don't think he is quote-unquote Venom. I still believe that is Harry. But perhaps one of the ways that they show that Peter completely loses control is by allowing the symbiote to take complete control of him and become Venom. And that would be a great way if they wanted to make Venom playable in this game in a sort of way, would be for Peter to just completely lose it.
So what I said in my reaction to this,
Venom playable in this game in a
I said Venom, Spider-Man Peter is Venom for a little bit, but somehow got it out. Someone got it off of him. But that would be for us to play as Venom for a little bit before we don't.
sort of way would be for Peter to just completely lose it and he briefly becomes Venom. Perhaps he like regains control very quickly and it goes away and he's like, whoa, what the hell was that? But it definitely looks like the symbiote is evolving in some sort of way. Whether that means a full-blown Venom, I have no idea, but it's definitely doing something beyond its normal capacity here.
You know, we've talked in the past about how Pete is really on this spectrum from symbiote to Venom, and we were wondering how close he is going to make it to Venom. Nick, I think this is the closest we've seen so far of Pete transforming into Venom. You see, like, how massive he's getting with the symbiote enveloping over him, and I am really wondering if that's going to be the case that you were talking about, Nick, that we are going to briefly get to play as Venom. I know that's maybe a dream that we're all holding on to, but time will tell in only a week, maybe less than a week now. But as we continue on, we have a shot of Peter in the symbiote suit fighting more of Kraven's goons with a flash of lightning in the background. I love this shot. I cannot wait for this fight in what appears to be almost like a greenhouse vibe in the background, and just the lightning. Like, what an atmosphere here, Nick.
Yeah, it really is. They are killing the environmental stuff in this game. And then we get to see that classic Spider-Man shot of Peter thinking about things or observing things in the symbiote suit in the rain at night. This is just such a classic Spider-Man shot, and it looks phenomenal. The way the light is reflecting off the suit, the rain hitting it, just the ambiance of the environment. Like, Insomniac has absolutely killed the environmental stuff in this game. And then we get to see a shot of Norman Osborn for the first time, and he's a little pissed off. He's telling his guys at Oscorp, get that symbiote off of him. And I wonder if he's talking about Peter in this instance, or perhaps maybe this is after Harry has gotten into possession of the symbiote and he knows how dangerous it is now, and he's like, hey, get that off my son. So I'm just kind of wondering, is he talking about Peter here, like Spider-Man, or is he talking about Harry because he knows how dangerous the symbiote can be?
You know, Nick, it's actually really nice and refreshing to see Norman, because I think he's been missing in recent trailers, and so it's just nice to see him back in the fold, and he's really a wild card in this story, in my opinion. I'm wondering how close we're going to get to Green Goblin. I was mentioning earlier how much they're juggling in this game, and so it feels like one of those things that they might save for an inevitable third game. But again, on that note, I love this little like green tinge on Norman's face here. I wonder if that's like a very subtle nod to his eventual turn to becoming Green Goblin. I don't know if it's that deep here, if we're just squinting at shots, but I am really wondering that. And Nick, up next, we get a little bit of the lizard serum, right?
Yes, we sure do. We see that symbiote Spider-Man has completely hogtied, I guess is the way to say it. Hogtied the lizard, and he has, looks like, at least what we're assuming to be, like, anti-lizard serum. And we do see later on in the trailer who we believe to be Dr. Connors back in his normal human form. So it looks like we are going to capture Lizard, and we're going to, at least briefly, turn him back into Dr. Connors, or perhaps a lower scale lizard. We know from a recent article that was released through the PlayStation blog that there are like different stages of the lizard in this game. So I'm wondering what exactly that serum is going to do. Is it going to just like lower the level, I guess, of the lizard so he's more manageable, or is it going to turn him back into Dr. Connors for God knows how long, hopefully permanently, but we will have to wait and see. And then we get this sick shot of symbiote Spider-Man fighting Lizard. This is from what appears to be that sequence of gameplay that we've already seen a couple weeks ago. We see Lizard slamming him into the side of the building, and then we get this shot, and there's a lot to unpack here in this sequence. We see Peter. He's all dressed in black, Bully Lowenthal vibes from this sequence. He tells MJ, "I'm the hero here, not you." Like, totally tells MJ off for some reason. Like, he's very aggressive. He's clearly under the influence of the symbiote. And then, Andres, if you look in the background, I want to talk about Harry for a second, because he's not looking too good. He looks pale. He looks sickly. We know that this disease he has is killing him. He's not looking too hot back there.
You know, I'm really curious as to how Harry is going to play into this whole thing where Pete becomes incredibly aggressive and standoffish. It looks like Harry, just the way that this is blocked out and the positioning of the characters here, it looks like Pete is at odds with MJ. We know that he's going to be at odds with Miles, but I'm wondering, is Harry going to be enabling this? Like, is Harry going to also share a concern that MJ is sharing here in the well-being of Pete, or is he more complicit in this? It looks like he's standing by his side. He's looking, you know, just peering behind him as Pete is absolutely tearing into MJ here. And it's just making me wonder, is Harry going to be an enabler of this entire addiction to the symbiote that Pete has at the expense of maybe their mission to heal the world that they have? I'm just wondering how this is all going to fit together, and the blocking of this scene is of particular interest to me.
Yeah, that's a great point, because I got the same vibe from this. It looks like it is going to be Harry and Peter versus MJ. Like, MJ is concerned with what they're doing, what he's turning into, and Harry's like, no, like, Peter, we need to do this. I need to do this, or I'm going to die. It definitely looks like he's egging him on and encouraging him to act in the way that he's acting, because Harry also looks like he looks sickly, but he also looks like upset that MJ is like questioning him or whatever. Like, he looks kind of pissed and annoyed.
No.
Like, what are you doing here?
Or it looked like, what the hell is Peter doing?
Like, this is our thing. So I'm happy you brought that up, because I totally agree with you. And then we continue on. We get to see this shot with the particle accelerator symbiote suit. Appears to be Kraven's guys breaking in from the rooftop. We've seen stuff like this in the past. And then we get this shot. And I really want to talk about this shot, because we see Peter in the symbiote suit, and then the symbiote pulls back, and Peter is, at minimum, unconscious. No idea, you know, it could be worse. Who knows? Because MJ looks very upset. This is the person that MJ is hovering over. We've seen this shot in the past, that she was hovering over somebody, but we can never tell who exactly it was, and it now appears to be Peter, and he is again at minimum unconscious, but she looks very upset. And I do want to shout out Insomniac here for a brief moment, because we've seen this exact shot here of MJ in the past, and the change in the graphics and the quality in these few brief months since the last trailer that showed this shot are astronomical. Like, a huge improvement here, which, of course, guys, you should never judge a game by its trailers. Like, they're never done with it. They're still working on it, and this
But now they are. Now it got gold a couple weeks ago.
looks phenomenal.
I'm so excited for this game, to be honest, because this game gonna be incredible. This game gonna be the game of the year. Like, I'm calling it now. If it is not a game of the year, I don't know what is. Okay, I don't know what is a game of the year. Okay, this game is a game of the year. I don't care what you say.
Such a great looking shot. And then we get this sequence here of the symbiote choosing a new host, and it looks like this is taking place in some sort of like Oscorp lab or something. And we talked about like the hand looks really big. Could this be a Norman? Could this be a Kraven? But I still think that is just a perspective trick, and I think this is Harry, especially if it's taking place in some sort of like Oscorp lab. I do think that this is a confirmation of Harry taking on the symbiote suit and Harry becoming Venom.
I also want to point out a soundbite here from the legend himself, Tony Todd, voicing Venom in this game, and he says, "You'll want to join us as the symbiote is enveloping this hand here." Nick, just for the sake of humor, I also want to entertain the possibility that, we have MJ hovering in front of Peter with the symbiote suit, and then immediately after we have this hand. I'm not insinuating this is MJ's hand, but I just think it'd be funny to imagine if we've been talking about who's going to be Venom this whole time. Imagine if it ends up being MJ, just how hilarious that would be. But you never know.
Funny.
Insomniac could always pull the rug from under us, and we could be seeing a full-blown MJ Venom here. MJ's been hitting the gym. Look at just how massive his back looks here. Like, holy shit, this Venom's gonna tear you apart in this game.
Yes, and now you're going to get us yelled at in the comments because people are going to think we're serious, that you think it's MJ who is Venom. But guys, I think it's pretty clear from what we've seen from these trailers and this trailer that Harry is going to be Venom in this game. Now, of course, it could be wrong. It could be Kraven or Norman. But if I was a betting man, I would definitely put my money on Harry for sure being Venom in this game. And then we get this sick shot of Venom coming down, doing the like hero landing. He looks so damn good. The lighting, the reflections, God, it looks so good. I cannot wait to fight against and see Venom in this game in 5 days. This is going to be so much fun. And then we get this shot of MJ and what appears to be Dr. Kurt Connors right there next to her. He's missing the right arm. He's a little beat up. He's in a lab coat. I definitely think this is for sure Kurt Connors, and this is his post-Lizard era. So it looks like whatever serum that we give to him is going to, at least for a brief few moments or a little bit of time, turn him back into Kurt Connors. And it looks like he is working together with MJ to perhaps stop Venom or perhaps even stop Kraven, because MJ says he's here. And they could be talking about Venom, at least that's what the framing of this trailer wants you to believe, but they could also perhaps be talking about a symbiote Peter who's completely lost control. They could be talking about Kraven, but I think there's probably a good chance that they're talking about some sort of iteration of Venom. But really cool to see MJ and Dr. Connors working together, because that's not a team up that you would think of off the cuff immediately as like a potential cool team up in this game. But really excited to see like what they're able to do together, or what they're trying to accomplish together here.
Up next, we have a shot of what appears to be Venom being shot in front of Oscorp. You can see in the background, it's blurred and through shrapnel, the Oscorp logo. So really curious to see exactly how this portion plays out. But Nick, I just want to emphasize how terrifying Venom looks here. Like, I don't know if we've ever seen his jaw open this wide. It's like he almost unhinges his jaw here, and my God, how dense his teeth are. Like, this is a terrifying shot of Venom here.
Yeah, and this is what I absolutely love about Venom. He's a terrifying, just disgusting, gross villain who you're scared of. He's a very intimidating villain. He's big, he's massive, he's got those teeth and those weird eyes. Like, he is not to be messed with. And the other thing here is this confirms that Venom will be at Oscorp in some capacity, whether this is where he gets the symbiote in this, Harry, Norman, like they're at Oscorp, or he goes to Oscorp and starts attacking Oscorp. Like, for some reason, Venom is going to be at Oscorp at some point in this game, and I think this just further provides evidence that it is going to be Harry at the end of the day in this game. And then this sequence continues with him getting shot. And then we get this shot of Miles falling through this water, like falling through the ground. This is a great recreation of some stuff we saw going into Marvel Spider-Man 1. Just great parallels here from Insomniac. Really love what they're doing here. And then we get this sick shot of Venom scaling down the side of what appears to be like an elevator shaft or a building. He screeches out. He looks so damn good. Cannot wait to fight him. We get to see this shot of MJ attempting to do some sort of like Akira slide on her motorcycle. doesn't exactly go too well as she kind of falls off of it and the building is collapsing. It looks like she's in some sort of tunnel because it says tunnel closed in the background. So wonder who she's running from or what she is running from. And then as we continue, we get this really cool shot of Miles going to take on Sandman, and he holds out his hand, and this is where he talks about how we can fight this together. Just great stuff going on in this trailer, really trying to emphasize the whole we need to work together. We need to team up if we are going to be able to take these threats down. Really emphasizing that be greater together marketing slogan that we've gotten for this game.
And on that same note, we see both of them swinging in together side by side, and of course this is Pete not in the symbiote suit here. I'm wondering if this shot is after he's kicked the symbiote or before. I'm hoping it's after he's able to kick the symbiote. On that note, earlier when we had the shot of MJ on the motorcycle, she says, I know I can snap him out of this. So I'm wondering if she helps snap him out and kick the symbiote, and that is going to be needed. 2 Spider-Men are going to be needed to take down this Venom threat. And of course, Insomniac loves to end their trailers with a nice shot of the spooky Venom with his unhinged jaw. Just an absolute unit of a Venom with the lightning behind him. What a crazy cool shot.
Yeah, it really is. And I love that they're also closing out this trailer with this shot of Venom, because show him off. He looks great. You guys did a great job with Venom, so I would show him off as much as I could if I was responsible for making this Venom. But guys, there you have it. There is the official launch trailer for Marvel Spider-Man 2. So many great details packed in this trailer. So many great new villain, story, Venom, symbiote details. All that you could possibly want in a launch trailer is in this trailer. It was incredible.
Yeah.
Let us know your thoughts down below.
Incredible.
It changes the way I think about some things going into this game about 5 days out. So we definitely want to know what you guys are thinking down below in the comments. And guys, we're only a few days away now. We're going to have our hands on the game by the end of this week. Cannot wait. Next weekend is going to be so damn fun. But guys, that is going to do it for us for this one. Thank you all so much for watching. And as always, we will see you all next time.
Okay guys, that's it for the video. If you guys did enjoy the video, please drop a like on the video, comment, subscribe, post notifications about the syndromes. So every time I look over here, I am watching football, but not anymore. But I'm still listening what they were saying. There's all like possible could happens, to be honest. Like with Peter as laying down, look dead. MJ terrified, don't know what to do, and then out of random, the zombie went away, and now someone picked it up, and they come and take over, and so the symbiote take over someone. But yeah, it's gonna be a good game of the year. I'll be posting 2 or 3 videos every single day of the story with you guys till we beat the game, and then I'll plan them the game by myself, and I'll post occasions and like the video to be know when I go live on this channel, because I will after I plan them the game, and then I will do a live stream of playing Spider-Man 2 from start to finish with you guys on a live stream. And yeah, drop a like on the video, and I'll talk guys on the next video. Peace out.